Whoa, what's the deal, baby? Welcome to the Nothing But Sports Show, the Nbs Show. It's a big Tuesday night, and we appreciate y'all tuning in. I am the guest moderator, I guess, for the night, Mr. C, the trendsetter, and we're gonna be joined by the rest of the panel, and we're gonna talk about a lot of stuff, man. It's the NBS Show, Nothing But Sports, but I believe the title is a little misleading because we talk about a variety of things on here, so maybe we need to think about adding and more on the name of the show. So nothing but the show and more. But anyway, man, let me introduce who we got on so far, man. To the left of me, if you're looking at the screen, I got the homie Keo straight out of California. What up, Keo?
What's good, man? What's good? Episode 75. I'll be on camera in a bit. I'm going to be on audio for the next 20 minutes. But I'm ready for tonight, man. Episode 75. We're going to be talking about some college football, give our reactions from the wild card. And, yeah, man. So I'm ready to go.
It's all good. And below us, the way he is on the standings,
Wow.
we got
Damn.
we got my arch rival, my arch nemesis, Mr. Box Office. What it do, man?
What up, y'all? Hey, we argue every day, not just on this show. So I like having it face to face for once a week at least.
Yeah.
Look, man, we're near the end of football, so
Look in my eyes when I'm killing you.
Wow. Okay.
We're the near end of the football season, so man, I'm just trying to enjoy it. And since X is not here to help you out, see, I guess me and my brother of destruction, it's a handicap match tonight. So
I always win them. I ain't scared. I'm a giant out here. That's how I like it.
all right, let's get this thing started.
All right, man. So X will be joining us later. He's running a little late, but we're gonna kick things off with wild card weekend from the first round of the NFL playoffs, man. And we're gonna give our winners and losers. How you guys got it?
You can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. My biggest winner has to be the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
Look, it's a huge start to the Jane Daniels reign there in Washington with a playoff win. It immediately shows you, as long as he stays healthy, they are going to be a team that's going to be always a contender in the NFC. I mean, here they are in the Final Four in the NFC, and he's a rookie. They still have a very young team around them. They could still improve that team. They could still improve that team a lot around him. And I think it's only up. And it's crazy what new ownership does and what new GMs do, new coaching staffs. As soon as you got that in place, you're going to draft the right guys. And you're going to only take off from there. So hats off to Washington. I knew that would be a close game to the end. I picked Tampa because I just thought maybe Washington was another year away. But hey, man, shout out to them. I got to give them props. I live in the DMV. I live in Commanders country, so I'm used to them. And they've been bad pretty much my whole life. They've had moments with RG3 and Mark Brunell and those guys, but this seems different. And you got to give them credit. Do you want me to go into my loser immediately, Keo, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and my loser is no one else except the Minnesota Vikings because they won 14 games. And it sucks to win 14 games for no reason. You didn't even get a playoff win. Now they're in a tough position with Sam Darnold. That you have to, I wouldn't even say tough position, but you're in a complicated situation, not where you're sitting back and saying, like Tampa, oh, we're bringing Baker back. We know who our quarterback is. They have some decisions to make. It just sucks. I would hate to be a Vikings fan today and go through a season, get my hopes up, 14 wins, and next thing you know, my season's over just like that. I don't even think Sam Darnold played that bad. that line was trash. 9 sacks. Aaron Donald isn't on that Rams team.
No, he's
You
not.
know, like I don't know what went wrong there. They were, I think, 3-point favorites. So either way, even if you had the Rams, you were probably expecting a closer game. I just think that this was a choke job by the Vikings. I understand you weren't at home, but it didn't matter where that game was played. If you allow 9 sacks, you're going to get crushed. And yeah, they're my loser because I feel like those 14 wins all went to waste real quick. So my winner is Washington. My loser is Minnesota.
All right, let me go ahead and get in here. I I I got the same things that you do basically. The winners have to be the Commanders, man. And coming into this season, very low expectations, if any. And I think everybody in Washington maybe was a little excited with the addition of Jaden Daniels, but they had no idea that they would have been going not only to the playoffs, but winning a game in the playoffs. I don't think those were on anybody's radar, even in Washington, that would happen with just the one addition of Jaden Daniels. In his first year, I think everybody probably figured he's about a couple years off, maybe 1 to 2 years off. Then he could make some noise. Even I was thinking that I didn't expect him to turn them into a playoff franchise his first year. But the biggest winners for sure are the Washington Commanders, and it goes straight to my loser, Sam Darnold. Not just the Vikings, Sam Darnold. His last 2 weeks, he's lost himself millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. He was on pace to get a huge contract from some idiot that was gonna give him a whole bunch of money. But these last 2 weeks, he's shown everybody that if you bring him to your bad team, you're still going to be a bad team. He went to a team that already had good weapon for him, and he did remarkable this year. But the team that would give him a bunch of money is a quarterback needy team, and those teams are all bad. So you bring him to a team that needs a quarterback. They don't have any weapons like Justin Jefferson, like Addison, like Aaron Jones in the backfield. They don't have that. So nobody's going to throw the checkbook at him and tell him to just write the check like they would have probably just 3-4 weeks ago. So I feel sorry for him actually because he's had a hell of a season. He's had a hell of a season to end it up like this. And like you said, he didn't play so bad. His offensive line was terrible. They were terrible in this game, and they showed that they're bad. I don't know. They need to be on the hunt for some more offensive linemen because I think that, like you said, I think they are in a complicated position because the smart move would be to bring Darnold back and still let JJ sit and until Sam Darnold shows you need to throw JJ in there. But let him learn how to be a pro. Learn how to be a pro. Sit under Darnold for a year. You could give Darnold far less than you gave him, than you were anticipating giving him 3 weeks ago. So you could probably he's not gonna get a Baker Mayfield type of contract. He's gonna get I'm trying to think of somebody he can.
He might. I think if he goes back to Minnesota, they might just tag him for a year.
Oh, they can
like
do that, huh?
like Geno Smith when they Seahawks gave him a contract when he turned his career out like that.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. There. I mean, he still could get a contract from an idiot team like Vegas or something.
If Vegas did that, they'd be dumber than I think they are. I just don't see a quarterback needy team bringing in a Sam Darnold and thinking that's going to change their direction. Like I said, he was in a perfect situation to succeed this year, and I think he had a good coaching staff to help him along too. And once he started off good, it was easy because he's always been talented. He was just stuck in New York. You know what I mean? And he didn't have a chance. He didn't have any weapons there. Therefore, he ended up being Sam Darnold. So you know what I mean?
Well, see, if you had to guess, what do you think is going to happen? Because I think he's going to get tagged 1-year deal back to Minnesota.
Yeah. That's what I think is going to happen. I didn't think about the franchise tag. I thought that it was just going to re-sign him for another year or two and allow J.J. McCarthy to learn under him and bring him back because that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, I agree.
He's
Because
already
he did win you 14 games. He knows the system.
He won you 14 games. Worst case scenario, he comes back and wins you 10.
Right. And you don't know how healthy JJ is.
Right. You don't know how healthy JJ is, and he'll be a rookie next year. He didn't play a down this year, so he'll be a rookie next year. So you're gonna have to go through those rookie growing pains unless you sit him and let him learn for a year under Darnold, and still have a success. You get people butts in the seats, high expectations on your franchise, bring him back, and like I said, if a franchise had, he'll still get buku money. Like he'll get so much money because as a quarterback, you get the franchise tag, you get the average of the average starting quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So he'll get way more than he got this year. So I think that's a good idea for him. I think that's gonna happen. So my winner on the Commanders, my loser is Sam Darnold. He lost all that money, so shout out to them. It's on you, Kill.
My losers is the Green Bay freaking Packers, man. I don't know what the hell I was thinking picking these damn idiots, man. And I mean, you guys warned me, but I was like, man, the Green Bay Packers blew out my Cowboys last year. They were so close against the Niners. I was like, okay, I see something. They added Josh Jacobs, and they had a great defensive game plan going into this game, and they did good. They contained Jalen Hurts, which we're going to talk about later. But Saquon Barkley was the main problem, and the problem did not get solved. They had a hard time establishing the running game. Green Bay did not put up a fight at all. They had a hard time moving the ball offensively, and Philly was just really comfortable against them. And Philly didn't even play their best football outside of Saquon. So I had Green Bay as my losers. My winners, man, I'm going with the LA Rams, man. Are my winners because going into this game, I did not give the Rams no chance at all against the Minnesota Vikings. Everybody on the show picked the Minnesota Vikings. I think with the Tampa Bay and Washington game, because there was like a 50-50 chance of people expected this game to be good. People like Washington's chances. There was a good amount of people that did pick Washington, but nobody gave LA a chance, even to start the season. Everybody had the Niners winning this division. Even when they were on the Rams were struggling to win this division. People still didn't give the Rams a chance, and that you got to think about also their wide receivers was banged up throughout the season also, but it wasn't the offense, it was the defense. They had 9 sacks. Jarrett Verse was the reason, a huge part of it. He showed the type of player he can be with the Rams drafted him earlier this season, man. So I got the Rams as my winners, man. I did not expect this at all, and they didn't just beat them. They dominated this game from the start of the game.
I thought the Rams were the scariest team in the playoffs. Scariest team in the playoffs. When the Bengals didn't make it, I said that the Rams would be the scariest team in the playoffs.
And just wait until their offense starts clicking, though, man. So I think that wild card, that matchup between Philadelphia and LA, is going to be really interesting. And with the moment, how emotional, how they are right now going into this game, especially what's happening in California with the wildfires. I think they were definitely motivated and try to have the people in LA to cheer for something, especially what's going on right now. So, yeah, man, I got the Rams as my winners. All right, man. So I wanted to ask you guys, man, the huge wins between the Commanders and the LA Rams. What I wanted to ask you guys, what was more of the impressive win for you guys between the Rams advancing and the Commanders advancing?
The Rams. I got the Rams. The Rams, because they did it in such impressive fashion, they dominated. They completely dominated a 14-win team. Because no matter what you say, those guys won 14 games this year. You cannot be a scrub and win 14 games in the NFL. They won 14 games and lost. Bad. So you go out there and dominate a team like that, hey man, I ain't got nothing to say. And Washington, they squeaked by. They squeaked by, and I actually wanted to send a shout out to the Washington kicker. I forgot his name.
Zay Gonzalez.
Yeah, and I watched him go out there for the kick, and everybody was looking at him. He was doing his hair like a million times, and it came out after the game that he has OCD. And because I was like, dog, what is he doing? Like I called my wife to look, and he kept doing it. I was like, she was like, that must be like his tick or something. I said, I don't know. I ain't never heard of him having like a tick, but I hadn't heard of him period until that night. So shout out to him overcoming that OCD and going out there and being able to nail a kick in a pressure situation. Because I personally thought he was just very nervous, but that was impressive what he went and did.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with C here. The Rams crushed a 14-win team. It's just that simple. They destroyed them. I was just shocked at the fashion they did. If you told me the Rams win, okay, fine. I know I respect the Rams. They have the better coach, the better quarterback. But at the end of the day, the way they did it, 9 sacks. There wasn't Aaron Donald out there, no Von Miller. It was 9 sacks. It was very shocking to me. Darnold, like I said earlier, didn't even play bad. He just ran into these sacks, and that was it. So I'd say the Rams.
Okay. I'm going with the Rams also. Like I said, I did not expect this at all by the Rams. Just the way they played, the way they dominated this game, and the offense wasn't even at their best. It was the defense more than anything. So I definitely thought the Rams probably had the most impressive win out of the two. What Washington did, the style that they did it was impressive. Also, obviously, Jaden Daniels, he continues to surprise the entire league, man. So I definitely impressed by that. But it was definitely the LA Rams what they did. Okay, we're gonna move on over to our next topic, man. So we know the Philadelphia Eagles, they advance, one of the favorites in this league, in the NFC right now in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts returning, that's what everybody's talking about, man. I wanted to ask you guys, what would you guys grade Jalen Hurts' performance from this past weekend?
I give him a C. It wasn't explosive. He didn't do anything amazing. He didn't play bad. I guess I'll give him a B. He didn't play bad. But he didn't do anything explosive. AJ had 1 catch for 10 yards. That's gonna have to be better. You're gonna have to target your your best receiver more than that. There's no way he should ever leave out of a playoff game with 1 reception for 10 yards. I know y'all won, but the man was reading a book on the bench, for God's sake. You know what I'm saying? He was bored out there. So I think he could have done a lot better. And they play the Rams next, correct? Yeah, he's going to have to do a lot better against the Rams because that young Rams defensive line, a lot of those tackles came from those sacks came from the defensive tackle position. So they're clicking on all cylinders, and I don't know how good his offensive line is. I know they had to replace Kelsey at center this year, and those defensive tackles are coming right from the middle of their offensive line. So, you're lacking a little experience there. I know they've done a good job, but that tush push isn't as potent as it has been, Kelsey being gone. So they got a lot to worry about this week.
Okay. I give him a B minus. I mean, they won the game. He threw 2 touchdowns. He didn't turn it over. He did enough. It's a B minus. I do agree he has to get AJ Brown involved. And last time this happened, he scored the following week. So I think he's going to score next week and have a bigger game next week. Sometimes it's hard as a quarterback. People don't realize when you have Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, you do have to sometimes spread it around, and sometimes stars are going to have weeks off, and that's okay as long as you're winning. And they won the game, they beat the Packers, and they move on. It's just that simple. So I'd give it a B minus.
It's hard when you have one of those stars that complains. AJ Brown is a complainer, and he'll pout.
He is,
So you don't want him to be the one that suffers.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a headache, but you got to make sure you feed him.
And Amari Cooper hasn't done much in Buffalo, and I think he had a one catch a couple weeks ago, and they asked him, he's like, I don't care as long as we're winning.
Yep.
And that's the difference.
That's the difference right there.
So Josh Allen doesn't feel pressure to get on the ball.
Right.
But now Hurts is going to feel pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, especially he's hearing about it from the media in Philly.
Right.
I give him a C. I knew that was one of the reasons why I was kind of, I was leaning towards Green Bay because even though he was cleared of, concussion protocol to play, I wasn't too sure how they were going to use Jalen Hurts. I wasn't sure how effective he was going to be, how accurate he was going to pass the ball, and he looked sluggish at times, and he didn't look like the Jalen Hurts, the guy that got that big contract. He didn't look like that, Even at times when he was scrambling the ball, also, I would be concerned if I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, especially going against a gritty defense like the LA Rams, who just had 9 sacks on Sam Darnold too, man. So I would definitely be worried. The Eagles did win though, but if the Eagles lose this game, we know who the blame is going to go to. It's either going to go to Nick Sirianni or it's going to go to Jalen Hurts. It's going to go to one of those. It's not going to go to the defensive players. It's not going to go to the wide receivers. And it's going to be a domino effect if that does happen, though, because once you get the blame on Sirianni, you're going to point the fingers to Jalen Hurts, and then you're going to see the wide receivers complaining, and it's going to all crumble down for the Philadelphia Eagles. If that does happen, if the LA Rams knock off the Eagles, and like I said, I am very concerned for the Philadelphia Eagles right now because Jalen Hurts.
You're a Cowboy fan.
No, it's not. Because it's not because he looked average, man. He looked like an average quarterback. And Kenny Pickett will do the same exact thing that freaking Jalen Hurts did.
That's
I don't
ridiculous.
know. I don't know. His numbers might be a little bit better though.
Kenny Pickett's in that game, they lose it.
I don't know. I don't know about that though, man. Because Kenny Pickett, he's more of a high volume passer. He doesn't take any risk going outside of the pocket, and he made some big plays at that final regular season game though. So, like I said, man, I would be concerned right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. They do not look like they are a contender though, but I'm not confident and banking on them right now just by the quarterback play. And like you said, see, the quarterback play is huge, especially when it comes to your starters. So I would need to see more from Jalen Hurts.
That's why I say if Pickett's playing, the rest of the team isn't able to feel as confident going in there. It's something about having your starter in there. You feel like, okay, we got the best player in the game. You don't feel like we hoping that Pickett don't blow it for us. So it helps everybody play to the best of their abilities and not feel the pressure. So that's why I would definitely think that they would have probably lost to Green Bay had they been having to start Pickett.
I mean, I understand. He's returning from a injury, from a concussion, first game back, especially in the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure how much he practiced leading into this game, but I expect him to get more reps in practices this week, especially in a big game like this for going against the LA Rams.
I don't think he practiced until Friday.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think he did
yeah.
either.
All right, man. Well, with that being said, we're gonna move on over to our next topic, and our next topic is gonna be um, we're gonna talk about a, a topic that's been going on a lot lately. I actually asked X this, and he kind of brushed it off. So it's being resurfaced again, and I didn't know you guys had a long conversation about it. And it has to do with Mike Tomlin, man. We know he's on the losing streak of playoff, not winning a playoff game. So with that being said, after they get eliminated like we thought they would, how do you guys view Mike Tomlin now?
The same way I viewed him before, a great coach. I mean, I understand hadn't won the playoff game since 2016, right?
Right.
The fact that he's even been in the playoffs since 2016 is a testament to how good of a coach he is, because he is he has been given some crap to work with. He has been given some crap to work with. And he still is yet to have a losing season. I mean, um, quarterback is the most important. Is quarterback is the most important player on the team. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, so here's a list of the quarterbacks that he's been able to keep a non-losing record, either 500 or above, with since Ben Roethlisberger retired. Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields. Um, I don't know what you want this man to do. I don't know what you want him to do. Which one of those quarterbacks? And keep in mind, Russell Wilson is on his last leg now. Which that last leg of Russell Wilson is better than any of those other guys. But let's let's. Which one of those guys do you expect him to win a playoff game with? Also, um, the rest of the team. The rest of the team, he doesn't have studs at wide receiver and running back, defensive studs. He doesn't have a crazy defense anymore. I think that he's taking what he's given and he's winning with it when other coaches, lesser coaches, would not have been able to be a 500 team with Mason Rudolph as their starting quarterback, Kenny Pickett as their starting quarterback, Mitch Trubisky as their starting quarterback. To make it to 500, he's doing a hell of a job.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Mike Tomlin to me is a good coach. Okay. I don't think Mike Tomlin should be fired or anything like that because it's not like he's not winning regular season games. I agree with C there. All I'm saying is he deserves more criticism because he hasn't won since 2016. Look, I think he's exposed himself a little bit because he hasn't won a single playoff game without Ben Roethlisberger. It is what it is. Like you just got to call it what it is. He has not won since Big Ben, and I understand he's had some of those guys, but we cannot be naive. If you draft a quarterback like Kenny Pickett, number 20 overall, you signed off on it. It's not just the GM. This is not. Let's not be naive here. The GM has to align with the quarterback when choosing a quarterback. The quarterback, the coach. The coach has to like the quarterback. He doesn't sign off. If Mike Tomlin doesn't like Kenny Pickett, he's going to say, "I don't want him." What do you think? If the Steelers have had 3 coaches since like 1970, they're the type of organization that's going to listen to the coach. An organization doesn't do that. Doesn't have 3 coaches in 50 years without having good communication with the actual head coach. He also has said himself that he wanted Russell Wilson. I've seen interviews. He liked Kenny Pickett coming out. So he's been able to draft the guys he wanted or pick them up in free agency. He just hasn't gotten it to work. And look, my rule is this: if you win me a Super Bowl, you deserve to keep that job for the next decade. Because Brady and Mahomes have spoiled us and into thinking Super Bowls are just easy. No, they're not easy. So that's why I thought it was wrong that the Eagles fired Doug Peterson. He won you your only Super Bowl ever. So Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl and he got 10 years. And you didn't hear a peep out of me after that because he got him that. But what's he done ever since after those 10 years have expired? He hasn't won a playoff game. So look, if Kyle Shanahan can get to 2 Super Bowls with Jimmy G and Brock Purdy, Tomlin's got to at least win a playoff game. I'm not saying he has to go to a Super Bowl, but come on. There's been plenty of quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, so on that have been drafted later. You just got to find your guy. And so look, right now he's got that opportunity again this draft. He's going to be if he can really seek this talent, and the GM along with him can seek quarterback talent, they're going to get it. So I want to be clear. I don't want Mike Tomlin fired. He doesn't deserve to be fired because it does count for something that you're never under 500 during the regular season. But 8 years without a playoff win. Doug Peterson was hired in Philly, won a Super Bowl in Philly, fired in Philly, hired in Jacksonville, fired in Jacksonville, all within the last 8 years. And all of that has happened since Mike Tomlin has last won a playoff game. So I don't want to sound like, oh, he freaking sucks. No, he's a good coach, but he has to figure it out without Ben Roethlisberger. Another thing, is I think he's lost a little bit control of the locker room because we know how Antonio Brown acted. Now George Pickens says whatever the hell he wants at these press conferences. And you've heard other players say little things that might irk a coach off. So I don't know if he has full control because it seems like, especially the receivers he gets, they just don't give a damn. So
guys
I think
like Chase Claypool, Antonio Brown,
Deontay Johnson, who was just there for a quick trip. So I'm just saying, like, it seems like he's lost a little control, and they don't respect him like maybe they should. So that's on top of the no playoff wins. So look, Mike Tomlin has to get a quarterback and figure that part out. Either he has to be better at spotting the talent in the draft, or he has to be better at developing. It's got to be something. But look, he shouldn't be fired because he wins you. He gets you borderline playoffs every year, if not in the playoffs. But what's it take to get him in the next step? He's got to figure out the quarterback situation. Eventually, after 8 years, it's got to happen. Pittsburgh isn't the type of franchise that's going to just fire him and let's go look for another coach. They're going to give him more time, and that's okay. But I'm just saying this is going to continue happening unless he figures out the quarterback position.
A couple of things I want to address you just said. You brought up Shanahan, right? And he took Jimmy G and Purdy to the Super Bowl, right? Okay. Who's the GM in Pittsburgh?
What's his damn name? I forgot his name.
Is it Omar Khan?
I believe it is. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up real quick. I forgot. It is Omar Khan. Yes.
Omar Khan. All right. So,
by the way, he's from New Orleans.
Yeah. He used to work
for Tulane.
Yeah, he used to work for the Saints. Here's the thing. Who's the GM in San Francisco?
John Lynch.
Okay. Who do you think has done a better job at building a roster?
Well, Omar Khan's been in Pittsburgh since like 2001 though.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's been part of those Super Bowls that they've won. Meanwhile, John Lynch, I would say in the last 8 years since Tomlin's last playoff win, John Lynch has been better. Their rosters have been way better. However, Omar Khan was a part of those Super Bowls that Pittsburgh won, and San Francisco still hasn't with John Lynch, though. But to be fair.
Right. And I ask you this. If you switch the coaches, you give Tomlin that San Francisco team, do you think they at least make the Super Bowl?
I'm not sure because no disrespect to Tomlin. I think just offensive system, Shanahan's a mastermind. Like those quarterbacks look really good under him. So I'm not sure like if Tomlin has the best like offensive system. Would he make the playoffs with those Niners teams? Absolutely.
Yeah. Does he win a playoff game?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost like we're comparing apples to oranges here. He's been given the tools. Shanahan's been given the tools. Yes, Shanahan is known for being an offensive genius. And here's the question I asked you about Harbaugh. What's Mike Tomlin great at?
Well, I like to think that just creating a good locker room environment. He's really good at like having a culture. But I think that's part of the issue. What I was saying, like about Pickens, Antonio Brown, I think that's like changed a little. Like these players just don't give a damn. Or like Antonio Brown recording himself in the locker room when Tomlin's speaking in the back, and it leaked like saying we're gonna kick the Patriots' ass, and then the Patriots heard through Antonio Brown's IG story that Tomlin said that. So I just feel like that's what I thought Tomlin was best at, and I feel like that's where he's like. It seems like it's dying down a little bit.
All right, and that's the second thing I want to address. All right, so we're saying he's great at culture.
Right.
He's great at galvanizing the troops. I agree with that, right? So my question to you is, do you think that maybe ownership has made him relax a little bit on his locker room? Because like you just mentioned, Antonio Brown got his ass up out of there, right? Chase Claypool got his ass up out of there. Pickens, get your ass up out of there, right?
Deontay Johnson, yep.
So, yeah, not Pickens, yeah, Johnson. All right, Pickens probably next. What I'm saying,
think he is gone. I think he is gone.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So you, at what point as an owner do you come into him and say, "Hey, listen, you keep coming and telling me I got to get rid of this guy, and I gave him this money. You got to stop. I'm paying you to make sure that he doesn't do this." So, whereas he used to have free reign to say, "Hey, get Antonio Brown ass out of here." Get what was the running back's name?
Le'Veon,
Get Le'Veon Bell ass out of here. I don't want none of them guys. He used to maybe have free reign to say that, and now he does it. So now he has to put up with a Pickens a little bit longer than he would have in previous years and previous season, and it may be affecting the locker room a little bit. And I don't think that would be his fault if that's what if his hands are tied like that. And my main thing is not even that. My main thing is his roster. I don't think he's been put in a situation that he can win going into the playoffs this year. Did you have any doubt? Did you have any doubt that the Ravens were going to win?
I did. I said on the show, I think this is a maybe a bad matchup for Baltimore because they're division rivals and they know them really well. I did say that on the show. I expected a better performance out of Pittsburgh. I really did. I thought they came out way too flat. It was over at halftime. They made a good run in the third quarter, but it was too late. So I actually did expect way more out of Pittsburgh. I did.
Well, all right, yeah. I don't think. Well, I expected more out of them, but I did not expect them to win. I did not expect them to win. Not with that roster. I didn't have any faith in them actually winning this playoff game. Who did they play first round last year?
Pittsburgh.
They played Pittsburgh last year too.
Oh, you're talking about Baltimore?
Okay, no, I'm asking. Yeah, no, I'm asking about Pittsburgh. My bad. I'm tripping. I'm asking about Pittsburgh last year.
Remember, Mason Rudolph had to step in because the quarterback was hurt. So then they played Buffalo, and Buffalo destroyed them.
Yeah, they played Buffalo that year. Yeah. I don't think anybody had them beating Buffalo. In 2021, first round playoffs, they had the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think anybody had them beating them. In 2020, now this is where I think he could have got his win and he didn't. The Cleveland Browns. He should have won the game.
Pittsburgh was 12-4. They were at home. Yep.
Yeah. And they lost that game. Now that one I put on him because no way you're supposed to lose that game. And maybe even a 2017 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was that year that Jacksonville made that run, though.
They did, but Pittsburgh was 13-3.
Yeah.
But even the years you skip, like 2018, 2019, 2022, they didn't even make the playoffs. Like, I'm just saying, like, you got to get at least a playoff win at this point. Like, I'm not saying Tom has the best roster in the NFL and he needs to get to a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He doesn't need to do that for me. I'm just saying win a playoff game because you're already always in the playoffs.
Yeah, so, I look at it and I kind of changed my mind a little bit because I was thinking previous to looking at these last ones because I only really remembered the last 3, and I was like, hell, he hadn't had the roster to compete with any of his teams that he played his last 3 times. But the Cleveland Brown, when he had the roster, he could have won that game.
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars, that was the year they went crazy. I remember, but could have won that game. So you know what I mean. There are victories he could have had in there
for sure.
But in 2016, he went to the conference championship. So he was one step away from the Super Bowl. And just end up, losing to.
But even see, think about this year, right? You thought going into last week, you're like, no, Baltimore's going to destroy him, right? But let's think a month ago. Pittsburgh was first in the division.
Yeah.
They just, I think, lost 5 or 6 straight to end the season.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm also criticizing a little bit, like, the way this year ended. Like, Pittsburgh was first in that division. People forget. They actually beat the hell out of Baltimore first game. Lamar could not do anything.
Yeah.
And literally, they just fell apart this part of the season. So I see if you go from last week, I would think Baltimore's going to crush them. But a month ago, this wasn't the story. Like, people were actually talking good about Pittsburgh. They were like, okay, Russell Wilson is back. Steelers can make a run. So it's even like the way this year ended. I think that's what's kind of brought on a little bit of criticism in general. Why it's in the media floating around these days, it's because of how they ended the year.
And you know what? The criticism stems from Mike McCarthy getting fired. And RG3 brought up the question. I don't know if he's the only one, but he brought up the question about why isn't Tomlin getting the same kind of criticism as McCarthy. But there are reasons for that. You know what I mean? And like I said, we went at it ad nauseum in our chat about it. But McCarthy had better tools. McCarthy, that's probably the main reason. That's probably the main reason why he's out of there. Jerry Jones spent a lot of money to make sure he had plenty to work with, and he's an offensive mastermind. So he got him a good quarterback, Zeke in his prime. He's had Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb at the same time. He's had offensive tools to be able to perform, and he hadn't been able to even reach the conference finals. One playoff win in those, what he's coached 5 years there,
something like that, yeah.
And had a losing record 2 of those 5 years. So that will get you fired. Now,
it's also Dallas. It's a bigger spotlight than Pittsburgh, so they just get more attention in general.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh is a better run organization as well.
No question.
Right. So I mean, they're not gonna go in there and just blow somebody up out of there. That's one, because at the end of the day, honestly, McCarthy had 3 12-win seasons in a row.
Yep. And this year, technically, it was out of his control because Dak got hurt. I mean, what can he do? Who can win really with Cooper Rush?
But they look bad with Dak. They were getting
they were. They actually, I could make the argument, look better with Cooper Rush because they at least fought. They fought.
I actually know a couple of Cowboy fans who were saying that. They were saying, man, we need to trade Dak and just roll with Cooper Rush. I roll with Cooper Rush. They're morons. But they that's what a lot of the Cowboy fans are saying. And I understand it, being a Saints fan, when you see any spark of your team fighting and you've been getting your back blown out, you might say some insane things. But I don't think there's anybody in the NFL that would take Cooper Rush over Dak Prescott. And I don't think a GM could keep his job if that's what he did.
Yeah, I agree. But going back to Tomlin real quick, I listened to his press conference today. He said there's going to be a lot of changes, like roster-wise. So that tells me Pickens is definitely gone. He's not putting up with that crap anymore. Pickens is gone. I think this makes me think, because today they picked up Skylar Thompson, the backup in Miami quarterback. And that tells me either Fields or Russ are gone.
Yeah.
Because why else would you pick up a random third-string quarterback? I don't know.
I didn't understand that move at all. For what?
Yeah, so that made me think. I was like, maybe that means Russ or Fields is out of there. And I just expect a lot of more roster changes for Mike Tomlin this offseason. I think he's got to try something that he just usually doesn't do just to get a playoff win. Do something. I'm going to be really paying attention to Pittsburgh this offseason, what they do in the draft and what they do in free agency, because I don't know. I thought 75% of the season they had it figured out. They were in the lead in the division. They just came crashing and lost like 5 straight, 10 a year.
If I'm Pittsburgh, I keep Fields and Russ. I keep them both because you can get them both for cheap. It's nothing else out there in them streets that you can get that's going to equal up to having both of them.
You know who actually is the favorite to land Aaron Rodgers? Pittsburgh.
Oh my God! Please, I don't think Tomlin can do that, bro.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers would behave under Tomlin.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers is not only a coach killer, he's a franchise killer. I think Aaron Rodgers is terrible. I think he needs to get out of the game of football, bro.
See, I don't know if I agree with that because his teammates always talk good about Rodgers, though. Like his teammates love him. It's not ever like another teammate saying, that guy sucks. I do see what you're saying in terms of how he is towards the higher ups and stuff, because like he was in Egypt this summer. Meanwhile, the Jets were over here starting training camp. I do agree. You need to be there, right? You did not play a year off an Achilles. It's a new team. You do need to be there. I feel like Rodgers was wrong there, but you'll never hear a Rodgers teammate though say anything bad about Rodgers. Like his teammates love
him. And I get it. I just don't think. I think he plays the game good. I think he's a likable guy. He's in the locker room. He's in the locker room schmoozing with everybody. You got to think about most of these guys. Aaron Rodgers has been playing in the league like 18 years, right?
Yeah.
Most of these guys grew up watching him. He's Aaron Rodgers to them. So Aaron Rodgers is your teammate and he talks to you. Oh, hell, I don't have nothing bad to say about him. But he will throw you under the bus. It's your fault, not his. And I would feel differently if his play, if the Jets lost this year and he played great and they just were a bad team, I wouldn't be saying this. But he didn't play well. He looked bad. He looked almost terrible half of the season. So I think that it's over for him. And what's crazy is he probably has a bounce back year next year and plays way better. But I don't think he's going to lead your organization to where anybody who brings Aaron Rodgers in wants him to lead them.
Well, because Tomlin always is at least 500, you bring in Rodgers. I'm curious if Rodgers would win him a playoff game.
Nah, he wouldn't make the playoffs.
So you don't think this Pittsburgh team's any really different with Rodgers?
I think they're worse. I think they're better with Russ.
Interesting. Okay.
Like nothing Rodgers did this year made me think that he was better than Russ this year.
All right, Keel, what are your thoughts on Tomlin? Does he deserve criticism? What you would do if you were Pittsburgh?
You damn right. You damn right. You damn right. He deserves criticism. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I don't think it's fair to the Pittsburgh fans where it's like we made the play. I think they have. I don't. The Pittsburgh Steelers don't have no goals to go to the Super Bowl because every coach, every NFL player, when they come into this league, their whole objective is to go to the Super Bowl. That's your dream. That's what you're trying to accomplish when you get into this league. I mean, I think that should be every player's dream, even including coaches. And I just think this team is scared for a change. You look at the coaches that they've had: Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, And then you got Mike Tomlin. This dude does not get any criticism at all when it comes to off field off the field problems with players, guys like Antonio Brown, guys like Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. It seems like I don't know. It seems like to me Mike Tomlin allows this thing to happen and to go on. And when you look at the story traditional franchises out there, the Pittsburgh Steelers is one of those teams. Like we don't ever now look at the Pittsburgh Steelers as in okay, this team is going to contend for the AFC to win the AFC. We never have said that. And as good as a coach Mike Tomlin is, as much as he's accomplished, there has to be criticism, man. Um, and I honestly think the Pittsburgh Steelers are scared to move on from Mike Tomlin. And I think sometimes all good things got to come to an end. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Pittsburgh Steelers decide that they want to move on from Mike Tomlin, man. Because if this is okay
Whatever.
for you
Well,
to
they already
make the
said he's coming
playoffs,
back.
uh, it, okay, fine. If this is okay for you, is it okay for your franchise team to say make the playoffs and we're good? Is that okay for you? Not even a division title. This team hasn't even won a division title in 4 years. Um, you could talk about he has who he has, and you can't blame him for that. But in some way, you got to get criticism at the end of the day because you been with this team so long, and it's been 2015 since you or 2016 since you actually won a playoff game. It's been 4 years since you won a division title. It's you have had 4 and 5 one and duns once you advance to the playoffs. Like we all know, this team is automatically eliminated from the playoffs every single year. We don't even need to question it at all. Is the Steelers going to advance to the next round of the playoffs? When the Steelers was going undefeated earlier this season, there was at some point where people saying, "Oh, is this can this team contend for the AFC?" I did not believe it. I honestly thought the Pittsburgh Steelers were pretenders when they had as good as the record that they had. And I just feel like Tomlin does not get any criticism at all. And I think he gets away and he gets a pass with a lot of things as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach.
So let me ask you this: you don't believe that with the roster he has, you believe the roster that he has, what coach do you think could have coached that team um to the beat the Ravens this past weekend?
What coach
Yeah,
could have done that?
because if Tomlin leaves, a new coach comes in, and he has this team.
Um,
What
Kyle Shanahan.
you think Kyle Shanahan could have coached them to beat?
Yeah, I don't think they're you. I don't think they're you. I think he can. I just don't think he's utilizing his players correctly, like questionable play calls that he's had. I don't know. Maybe it's an offensive coordinator issue. Maybe a defensive issue. With TJ Watt has never had a playoff win. As good as you Yvonne talks about TJ Watt. TJ Watt has never had a playoff win in his NFL career. That's
So
something to think
okay,
about, actually.
okay, hold on. You said Kyle Shanahan. He currently coaches the 49ers, correct?
Yeah.
So who can they bring in? Because they're not gonna get him from the 49ers. You fire Mike Tomlin today. Who you bringing in that can win with this roster?
Are you talking about like a coach that's available right now?
Yeah.
Well, the one that's hottest or people want most is Ben Johnson.
So y'all
Ben
believe
John
that Ben Johnson could do a better job with this roster than Mike Tomlin's done?
on the offensive side, yes, I believe that he could do a better job than what on the offensive side.
I, I don't see it. I don't see it. Mike Tomlin's been able to get the best out of the scrubs that he had. This man has made the playoffs with Mason Rudolph as his quarterback. Bruh, no way. No way. What's his name? Ben Johnson?
Yeah,
He doesn't come in and make the playoffs with Ben Johnson. I mean, with Mason Rudolph as his quarterback. There's no way he could do that. He's catching hell doing it with golf and all those weapons over there. I think, like I said, a lot of people. This is why I've always X-nosed this. I wish he was on here. My question always is: okay, you fire him, you cut him, you trade him, and you bring in who? Who do you bring in to replace a man who's never had a losing season? That's what I'm saying. If you get rid of him, you got to bring in somebody who can produce better or has a bigger upside. Because right now, I just think it's a talent issue. I think it's a talent issue. Maybe he has had input in the quarterbacks that that they're bringing in. Well, that means he needs
I
to
mean
shut
the
the hell
guys.
up, and you need to get a GM that can get him the players in there that need to do it. Because whoever
I
he
mean,
gets, he's able to win with them.
the guy's been there for a very long time. I mean, I figure he should have a say in for what goes on. Like
Let's just say he does. I'm saying, okay, let's say he does, but that's the GM's job. So if he's been having input, let's just say he picked every quarterback. He picked every quarterback in there, and he keeps missing. Okay, well, why the hell is he getting the opportunity to do that? He needs to shut the hell up and let the GM pick him, and the GM needs to be doing a better job of getting him talent because that's the GM's job. His job is to coach the talent. And I haven't seen him having talent put in front of him to coach that's up to par with, like I just told him. They played the Ravens this year in the playoffs. Last year they played the Bills. The year before that they played the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you feel like those 3 years the Pittsburgh Steelers talent matched up well with either one of those teams?
no, but I just don't think that. Yeah, you're right. Nobody's gonna pick those teams against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think the GM deserves the blame, and I think obviously the head coaching deserves the blame also.
My my one thing I'm good at, is I can pick out coaching flaws. I can pick out if I see a team lose, I could probably always pick out why they lost, right? So last night I got to whisper a little bit. My daughter's soccer team lost 8-0. They called up the game. It's 3 minutes into the second half. And she was pissed. She didn't like to lose. She's never been 8 old. She was pissed. I never do this. She got in the truck. I let her vent, get all her off, who did what, who didn't do whatever. And I said, one, baby, that was a really good team y'all played. Two, y'all coach failed y'all. The coach failed them. Her team was very ill prepared. They didn't know how to react to the offense they were putting out there. And like I know that I don't know much about soccer. I just know sports. And I know those kids were better prepared than the kids on our team. And it was easy to see. So the reason why I bring that up is you can see when a team is not prepared. when it's a coach's fault. A coach's fault. I always tend to lean toward if a blowout happens, it's the coach's fault because that coach didn't make any adjustments. Um, Last night, coach's fault. Coach's fault. No way the Vikings should have got blown out like that. When you look
I
at
just
when I don't see Mike Tomlin not being able to coach being the problem. I feel like the talent is the problem on there. The talent on those three teams that I just named you is. Would you say the talent on the Ravens this year is twice as good as the talent on the Steelers?
um
Is Lamar twice as good as Russell Wilson right now?
yeah,
Is Derrick Henry twice as good as who's their running back?
Najee Harris and
Najee Harris.
Warren. I think the receiving core is pretty much even. I think that's a pretty much a wash.
Tight end. Mark
Definitely Baltimore. Definitely Baltimore. I'd give the Steelers TJ Watt.
The defensive end is where is where the Steelers are better at. There's no way they could have beat them. No way you're going to beat them when your defensive end is your
But they
only
beat them once earlier this year. They were split.
playoffs though. Like we always say, the playoffs is different than the regular
But
season.
It
as
is. It
but
is.
as good as the coach Mike Tomlin is though, is making it to the playoffs, is that good enough for you know a Pittsburgh Steeler? Is that good enough for you? Because we know that every year we know that hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers is a playoff contender. They have a chance to make the playoffs. We don't go as far as hey, this team is gonna win the division. This team could be an AFC contender. We don't go that far though. We just say playoffs for Pittsburgh Steelers. And what I'm saying is are those the expectations that the Pittsburgh Steelers are setting for their franchise now? Because I remember it used to be Super Bowl when guys like Big Ben was there, Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. It was contender during that time. Now it's just playoffs. So is that okay as for a Pittsburgh Steelers, and is that okay for Mike Tomlin as your for the head coach? Should you should set higher expectations than that?
Right. But I mean, even I believe the owners know and the GM knows that roster isn't up to par. I don't believe anybody in that organization believes that Tomlin is a problem. I believe that they understand that that he's deficient of weapons. And if you give him better weapons, I think you get a better result. Like you just said it, when they had the Killer Bees, the expectation was Super Bowl. I do not believe there's no way you could tell me that the owners of the Pittsburgh Steelers thought going into this year that they were going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I'll admit, they did try to push an issue to get Brandon Ayuk. They did try to push the issue to get
Mhm.
him, and we honestly thought that Ayuk was leaning towards Pittsburgh. Obviously, he stayed in San Fran, so they did try to make some splashing and moves on the offensive side, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I at this point, like I said, I look at them. I think that there are problems. There are problems in Pittsburgh, and I don't think the expectation has changed. I think that somebody's not doing their damn job, and I believe it's the general manager, not Mike Tomlin.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, man,
Rest my
let's
case.
with that being said, we'll move on over to our next topic. And our next topic is our playoff predictions for the next round. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do is, by the way, how'd y'all do last week? Because I'm not keeping up with playoff predictions, but I was not happy with how I predicted things. I had Tampa, I had Minnesota, and I had the Chargers. So what does that mean? I went what 3-3? Yeah, I went 3-3. How'd y'all do?
I was 5-1.
Which one you miss?
Yeah, I think C had the best one. Had the best record.
Who'd you miss? See,
The Rams.
Keo, how'd you
He
do
missed.
last week?
Yeah, Rams and Vikings.
What'd
Same
you?
record
How'd
as
you
you.
do? Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Well, here.
No
Hold
Here's
on,
way.
hold up.
No.
Let's not continue going without acknowledging the fact that I am also the NFL champ in the picks. We're not gonna go no further before we say that. We're not gonna go no further without me saying that I won the college and the NFL
King.
this
Picks.
year.
Congrats. See, you did what I did last year.
The champ. The champion.
I did it better. I said first for week one in both to the last week. Never fell behind.
All right, let's move on to the playoffs. We're gonna do, what I'm gonna do is what I've been doing. First game Saturday. By the way, this is the last Saturday football, so enjoy it until the end of this year. We've got the Texans at the Chiefs. Who we got?
I got the Chiefs. Man. The Texans, they did their thing, but it's over. The buck stops here. No way you going into Kansas City with all that nonsense y'all pulled off in Houston last week. But we going with Kansas City. I agree, Tumbo.
Tumbo's somebody I played college football with. I gave him an L today, so he's a little upset, but it's all right. Keo, who you got?
I got the Chiefs, man. Chiefs over Texans. I did pick against the Texans last week, but I'm pretty sure everybody got the Texans. I mean, the Chiefs, man. So Chiefs get some refs. They're at home. It's gonna be tough to beat this team. I got the Chiefs.
So if y'all remember, they played a couple weeks ago. It was the game Tank Dell broke his foot in. And the Chiefs won 27-19. That means by 8, and they're actually 8-point favorites. I think that the Chiefs cover. I think that the Chiefs make this easy. I think Houston surprised a lot of people last week because they didn't look good going into the playoffs, so a lot of people then expected them to lose. But the Chiefs, man, they've had 3 weeks off. At least Mahomes and Kelsey have. They've been here before. This is going to be a rough one for Houston. I got the Chiefs double digits. All right. Saturday night, Washington at Detroit.
Man, I hate to say it. Jaden, the buck stops ends here, bro. Great season. Clear rookie of the year. But I got Detroit, man. I don't care if it's the Pigskins playing, the Redskins playing, the Commanders or the Commodores. I got the Lions.
Okay, Keo.
I've got the Lions, man. I think the Lions. I think they're the favorite to the Super. I originally said they were going to be the favorite, despite all the injuries that they were dealing with. They're at home. You got to outscore this team. I don't think Washington can, man. I got Detroit.
Okay, perfect timing for Detroit to have a bye week. David Montgomery, full participant in practice, so he will play. He will play this game. He's back for them. Look, I got Detroit. I don't know how close this game's gonna be. Detroit's a 10-point favorite, but I got Detroit, man. You got to keep up with them. They've had a couple weeks off. They're getting healthier. there's no reason for me to pick Washington. Great rookie year for Jaden Daniels. However, you're off to your sophomore year. I got the Detroit Lions.
That's what, start working on making sure you don't have that slump, homeboy, because it's over this year.
All right, Sunday, we got the Rams at the Eagles. Who we got?
This is actually the hardest one. It's actually the hardest one to pick. Because the Rams, they're, like I said, the most dangerous team in the playoffs, and the Eagles historically have choked in the playoffs. So it's gonna be in Philly. I got Philly. The Rams got their wildfire win this week. They're not gonna be able to ride this one out. I know a lot of people get attribute the Saints winning the Super Bowl to Hurricane Katrina, but Rams, nah, that's not gonna happen for y'all.
Keo.
I got the LA Rams, man. And let me tell you why. I got the Rams because I think their defense is better. I think their defense is better. I definitely like the veteran quarterback play. I just trust Matthew Stafford more. And it's just Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts, he scares me right now, and he it's not the same Jalen Hurts, and I just need to see him throw the ball. And I'm curious to see how they're gonna do those wide receivers against the secondary of the LA Rams, and I think the Rams could give them a hard time, and I think that the front seven for the Rams, they're gonna get to Jalen Hurts, especially as much as he likes to scramble outside the pocket, and I think they're able to contain Saquon. I like the Rams, man. I taking the Rams in the upset in this game.
Damn. So 2 straight weeks you pick against Philly. Okay. All right.
Like a true Cowboy fan.
Yeah. So I don't know if y'all remember when these two teams played in I think it was Sunday Night Football earlier this year. Barkley went crazy. Had 255 on the ground.
Yeah.
I think obviously the game plan will be to stop him first, and they might do that. But then I think AJ Brown actually picks it up this week. I think Hurts makes sure he scores. So I've got the Eagles in a closer game, but I think AJ Brown has his coming out party in these playoffs. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles. And Keo, looks like you're frozen, so I don't know if you hear us, but just so you know. All right, you never mind, you're good now. All right. Last game of the weekend, probably what everyone's expecting to be the game of the week. We've got the Baltimore Ravens going to Buffalo to play the Bills, the two MVP candidates. Who we got in this game?
I got the Ravens. I think that they're stacked. They're stacked this year, and I think it's almost now or never for for Lamar to win. It's now or never for him. And I think that they're just in this position. They got that first round out the way. And he had a great playoff game. Lamar had a great playoff game. So all of that's out the window. Now he just needs to take it to that next level. And beating Allen, I think it's now or never for Allen too. So one of these teams is going to have to go against and beat Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl. And I think this is the year that they do it. I just think it's going to be Lamar. I think the talent on the team is going to stand out. And I think that there's just more talent over there in Baltimore than there is in Buffalo right now.
Keo? I
Keel
think
got the Cowboys, man.
Keel, you're frozen. All right, I'm gonna go next. So I think the main reason I have Josh Allen as MVP for this year is because he's more valuable to Buffalo than Lamar is to Baltimore, just because I think exactly what you said, see more talent in Baltimore. I think if you take Allen off Buffalo, I don't know if they have 5 wins. I think they're a bad team without Allen. Um so and that's exactly why I'm going with Baltimore. I think they've got the better team. These two teams played earlier this year. It was in Baltimore, so Baltimore did win, but being in Buffalo will be tougher. They played in the playoffs a couple years ago. Josh Allen and company pulled it out. Then they lost to Kansas City. I I'll actually be a little surprised if Baltimore loses this game because I think they just have better talent. I really do. They have 9 Pro Bowlers. The Bills have 2. Um, Josh Allen can only carry this team, but so far.
Yeah.
So I've got the Ravens. Keel, who you got?
I got the Ravens also in the game. Um, I think this is going to be very interesting for both of these quarterbacks, though.
I don't
Oh
even
man,
know.
Lamar and Josh Allen.
Keo, you're gonna have to log into your Wi-Fi, man.
I'll
Get off your
definitely be
hotspot.
happy. No,
Yeah, Keel, we don't even hear you. Like it will hear you every 10 seconds, but um, uh, um, pretty boring of us. I think all of us have the favorites except Keel's got the Rams, and I hate being that way, but it's just I'll be a little surprised if 2 of these underdogs win this weekend.
Yeah, I can't see any of them. I don't see any of them winning, and and it's not because I'm going with the favorites. I'm actually going by what my eyes, what I
Me
see
too.
this season, and
I think Buffalo's got the best shot because they're at home,
yeah,
but and it might be very cold for Baltimore there. I don't know, but I haven't checked. But maybe the Rams can get to Hurts like they did Darnold. But the 2 Saturday games, bro. If I had $1 million in my account to bet with, I'd put 1 million down on Kansas City to beat Houston.
oh yeah, God, I'm trying to convince my wife for us to put out the second mortgage and just get all the money and put it on there. And I'm telling her we can flip it, pay this house off, and we be good. But I don't think she's going for it, man. She's not going. She's not going for it, man. She think I got a gambling problem.
I think all these women think we do just because we like to get on DraftKings and FanDuel, like put in
Oh,
10-20 bucks on a parlay and they think that's wild.
oh, man, I'm telling you, bro.
hey,
She's just like, I think they're
am I
addicted to your
am I still
phone. Come on
free? Am I still freezing?
A little better.
now.
Who you
Yeah,
got?
Am I still freezing?
Baltimore or Buffalo?
I got the Ravens, man. I got the Ravens in this game.
Okay. All right, Keo, go ahead with the next topic.
All right, man. We're gonna go to one more topic, man, before we go to college football, and that is we all know that the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy have parted ways. So there's been reported that Jerry Jones has talked to Deion Sanders as a possible being the next Dallas Cowboys head coach. What I wanted to ask you guys is, what are the chances of Deion Sanders being the next Dallas Cowboys head coach?
Mm. We're going on a scale of 1 to 100, 42%. 42%, and it's only that high because I think Dion, just even by him acknowledging and taking the call, he wants to be a coach in the NFL, and that's probably the best situation. But he still wants Shador. He wants Shador for sure. Shallow, he says the only way he'll go is they draft both his sons. But if the Cowboys got Shador and they offered him the job, he'd take it. There's no doubt. But the draft um is not lining up with that because
Yeah, they're 12th.
the Cowboys they had an awful season, but they didn't have awful enough. Um, I'm trying to see how they where do they where do they pick?
They 12th.
Oh man, they picked 12th. What kind of trade would they have to do to to pull off to get into the top three?
I think what they would do, honestly, let's say they got
It's
Dion.
not a
I
chance,
think
man.
they would have to trade Tennessee the 12th pick, the first next year, and Dak Prescott. And
Yeah.
maybe Tennessee takes it. I don't even know if they would still take it then.
I'm not sure. I don't think they may not have to even trade Tennessee. They probably would have to trade the Giants because the Giants picked third, and I think Dion's going to pull Archie Manning and say my son's not going to Tennessee or Cleveland. So
But you think a division rival like the Giants would trade for him? I think Cleveland makes more sense.
Cleveland makes more sense.
No. Hell no. No, they ain't traded for him.
Cleveland, what would be a bigger kick in the nuts to the Cowboys than to take Dak Prescott from you and your 12th pick and turn your franchise around immediately. Whereas they're going to be starting over with Shador. You know that. So it'll look like you won immediately. Initially, it looked like you won by taking the draft, by taking Dak. And by taking Dak, you turn yourself into the Cowboys, and the Cowboys turn themselves into the Giants by making a trade like that. So I think Cleveland. I don't think I think Cleveland would I almost know Dion's not letting his son go to Cleveland. I almost want to say that he's already been talking about how he that he's not letting certain things happen, and he can do it. I mean, Shador does have like another year eligibility. Honestly, doesn't he?
I think he does, yeah.
He has another year of eligibility, and I don't think the agent thing is a thing anymore. So,
but do you think even he gets hired, or do you think what do you think happens with the Cowboys job?
do I think that Dion that he gets the job?
Yeah, because I'm hearing that what he said was the Cowboys did reach out and that he was honored, but he said he just likes Boulder too much.
That's bullshit. I don't believe nobody likes Boulder too much. That's not a thing. People in Boulder don't like Boulder. From Boulder don't like Boulder that much. I just think that right now it would have to be the perfect situation from the league. The Cowboys is the perfect situation for him to leave and go. If they got Shador, they were able to draft Shador, he would take the job for sure. I don't think that he's going to take it though,
Now,
because they're not going to have Shador, and it's just too complicated of a situation for his first NFL coaching gig, and to be dealing with Jerry like that. I don't think he wants to do that. I think he wants to be. He would have to have a conversation with Jerry, like, Jerry, you're not gonna be punking me like you did McCarthy. I ain't going for it. and I think that would stop Jerry from hiring him too.
Okay, so I heard that he's not going to take this job. And every interview I watched with Dion, they would always ask him about the NFL, and he's like, I think those he would say those players that are way too rich to listen to me and for me to put up with that. So I actually want to take Dion's word on that. Now I get it. If his son is at a certain location, that could always change your mind. But I really think it's a bad fit because he's too alpha and Jerry Jones is too alpha.
But Jerry, you ain't gonna have to deal with Jerry in but about 2 more years, bro. Then Jerry, I mean, Lord forgive me, but
I mean, I don't know. As old as he is mentally there. Like he makes a lot of sense when I hear him talk. But so it's I don't know. I think maybe Jerry's got another 6-7 years.
I don't know, man. Jerry, so, I know. Damn, I don't want to say it. He's aging like milk, though. He's aging like milk. He's 80 something. He looks 100 and something.
Yeah, but all that matters is how you are mentally at that age, and he's there. Like it's not like he's Joe Biden out there where like he just looks lost. Like,
but that happened just like that.
That is true. That is true.
Just like that with Jerry. Some of these things that Jerry is doing making me believe that he's that is happening. I'm going all in the all in that he put out there. That makes me think that he's not all there anymore, man. So I just don't. I don't know. I don't think Dion wants that kind of pressure going to the NFL because here's the thing: once you go to the NFL, everything else is a downgrade. So I think Dion, he wants that to be his final step. He's gone high school. He never even was a head coach in high school. He was a coordinator in high school. Then he was head coach at Jackson State, head coach at Colorado. The next step that he makes possibly is another coaching job in college instead
like
of
a Florida State.
Yeah. So I think that his last frontier is a NFL coaching job, and I don't think he wants to blow it going to the Cowboys right now when he's not ready and he doesn't have the team to make him successful.
Okay. Well, Jerry will be 83 when the next season rolls around.
That's it.
He's 83 in October. So
I thought it was 89, bro.
But to me, like I said, I think it's a bad fit because I think both of them are alphas. And the minute it goes bad on the field, all that media coverage, everything, it's going to be Jerry said this, Dion said that, and then they might clash. And they would get ugly. So I even if Shadur's there, I think it's a bad environment. It's a bad atmosphere, in my opinion. I think it's better off this doesn't happen. But I think the best thing for Dion right now is the next time Florida State's job is open, go get it because you're never going to win a national title at Colorado. It's just way too hard of a recruiting area to get like constant 5 stars consistently. If you go to Florida State is one of those schools that we always talk blue bloods, but if I can name 15 blue bloods, Florida State, in my opinion, would be one of them. He went there. The best talent in the country is in the South. So to me, I think that would be perfect. Like he said, he doesn't want to deal with rich folks and have them trying to listen to him because they're likely going to listen less. So I think that the next head coach from the Cowboys, from what I'm hearing, is either Dion or Jason Witten. And Jason Witten, to me, does not give me alpha vibes. He looks like a guy that would listen to Jerry. And at the end of the day, that's what Jerry wants. And it's why the Cowboys are hopeless and lost. I really don't know. Even this situation with Mike McCarthy, right? He literally said, Jerry said, we're going to make this work. We're going to, he didn't fire him right after the season. Apparently, they couldn't come to terms. And so his contract was up. So he's like, all right, whatever. We can't come to terms. All right. And I guess we'll look for a next head coach. And I heard it was a year thing where I think the Cowboys probably were extending him another year. And he wanted obviously multiple years. But it just shows you how unorganized Jerry and the Cowboys are. Like, what are you doing? Like, and the issue with that, somebody pointed it out, and I realized they cannot even interview now Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, and some of these coaches are coaching right now until like the title games. Meanwhile, for example, your Saints have already interviewed Aaron Glenn. The Patriots have already interviewed Ben Johnson. So it's like while they were over here BSing around with Mike McCarthy, not having a decision, they literally missed out on a chance to interview all these other candidates. So the Patriots have already hired a new coach. Like, what are the Cowboys doing? Like, they are unorganized. Jason Witten's the guy because he's gonna listen. And Jason Witten isn't going into the best situation. I mean, like, what's he gonna do different there? So I don't know. The
What
Cowboys
experience does he have besides I played here to
he
deserve
doesn't.
to lead Cowboys?
The only experience he has is coaching a high school football team. I think he's been doing that like the last 4 seasons. So
I did that shit, man. Hire me, Gary. Well, I listen, Gary. On God, I listen.
That was a funny reaction, but yeah, I don't know. The Cowboys are just doing what Cowboys do. They're going to continue being like this until Jerry resigns or does whatever, which will never happen
just
until he
say
dies.
it, man, until he dies,
Until
man.
he does, yeah, because he said
Nobody wants to say it, but you're right.
this is what Jerry he's so stubborn about the Cowboys. I don't understand why he wants to control. Who's going to have the control once you die, Jerry? It's going to be your son. So it's still the family name. Go let your son try some. You can still be a fan and sit in the box. And all you're doing is, if anything, you're giving yourself less stress by not making these decisions. But he's obviously a control freak. So the Cowboys, man, they're hopeless. Jason Witten will be the next head coach. And honestly, I think it's a better idea than Dion because I think they would only clash because they're two alphas. So maybe Jason Witten's better, but he's not going to win you anything either. So yeah, that's all I got to say about this situation. The Cowboys will be the Cowboys.
Let me tell you why. I know y'all don't have kids. Let me tell you why he won't just sit back and let his son do it. Jerry knows his kids, bro. Jerry knows his kids. I have 6 of them.
Or is he just a control freak?
That too. But Jerry knows his kids, right? I would love to leave things to my kids, but like I said, I have 6 of them, and I know what they're all good at. So my second youngest daughter, I tell everybody, if something happens to me and her mom their mom, she's in charge. She's gonna make sure all the business get handled and all of that. And my second to oldest son, he's the executor. He's gonna make sure everything gets done. She'll make sure she knows what needs to be done. He'll make sure it gets handled. I think that Jerry just thinks that his son isn't capable. He thinks he's better at it than his son is right now. He said, even in my old age, I'm better at it than him. And I'm not giving it to him to mess up while I'm still here. So I think that it's only normal for everyone to think that he just needs to give it to his son. He's there. He's right there with you every day. But obviously, Jerry doesn't trust his son.
That's what happened. That's what happened with Al Davis, man, with the Raiders.
Yep. And look how that's turning out.
As far as this goes, man, I don't think Deion Sanders is not going to be the Cowboys head coach. When I heard about it, I wasn't entertaining it at all about it because Deion already spoke about it, and I wasn't surprised that the Cowboys contacted Deion about the job. Like Deion, he's pretty made his decision before all of this happens. He wants to stay in college. He has no plans coaching in the NFL if he could coach his sons. But I just don't see that happening because there's no way the Cowboys are gonna move up in the draft to go get Shador. And I just don't see that happening at all. And you already gave Dak all that money already, so you do that, you're gonna shake a lot of things up in the NFL drafting Shador Sanders, and people's gonna question what's gonna happen with Dak. So I just don't see it happening at all. Mm, The I don't think it's gonna be Jason Witten. I think what the Cowboys will probably do though is bring like a successful NFL coach, I guess you would say, a successful NFL coach, bring Jason Witten in as possibly as an assistant because he has no damn experience in the NFL. And I think as old as Jerry is right now, Jerry, he wants to win. He wants to win now. He ain't gonna wait for no 5 year, 6 year process. He ain't got no time to wait for that. He wants to win now. So my ideal thing I would suggest is that I think it would be somebody like a Pete
That's
Carroll
why I was thinking.
who's been successful. He's actually only had one losing season when he was with Seattle. He's had success in college also. He's taken the year off, and I think Pete Carroll is a good coach, and I think he would fit well with the Dallas Cowboys. As far as anybody else, I just don't see it. You could see, possibly an Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson. Um, I heard Kellen Moore, but I think the ideal head coaching position for the Dallas Cowboys, it's gonna be Pete Carroll. Normally, the Cowboys they go with those high profile names. If you look at the head coaches that they have hired, and I think it's gonna be a high profile name, a successful NFL coach. I don't think it's gonna be anybody. And if it's a young guy, it's gonna be the one of the biggest names in the off season, like somebody like a Ben Johnson. I just don't see anything else outside of that.
Where's Jared Glanville?
Jerry Glanville.
Yeah, bring Jerry Glanville ass to Dallas, man. That'll be hilarious. That'll be
Ooh, he's like Jerry's age.
yeah, he is. and Jerry be like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I know Jerry Glanville. Yeah, bring him in. He's a great coach.
All right, man. Let's go to our last topic for tonight. We're gonna talk some college football really quick. So, as
Cowboys
we
have
all
black.
know, the national championship the national championship game will be on the 20th. It's gonna be on the Monday night. So obviously, we're gonna do our predictions ahead of time, and we'll get to that in a bit. So we all know it's gonna be Notre Dame versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. When I wanted to ask you guys is everybody got Ohio State. They love Ohio State right now, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially the way they've been playing and the gauntlet they had to go through. Give me a percentage chance of Notre Dame beating Ohio State.
27%.
Wow.
I give them 27% chance, man. Just because Ohio State's so good. The reason why I think the 27% is high, but Notre Dame has proved to me that they are legit and that they can play with anyone. But and the fact that Ohio State has proved to me that they can play down to anybody's competition, to their competition. And I think just looking at the teams, Ohio State is clearly better, clearly a better team on paper. And I think that they'll look at that and they'll play down to their competition. I think they play up to Oregon, down to Michigan, and I think that they'll play. It's crazy to say because it's the national championship game. They'll play down to Notre Dame. Um, Notre Dame is a good ball club. They're well coached, but I don't think that they're in the same league as Ohio State as far as a team. But they have won big games this year, and these playoffs they've looked real good. So definitely give them a shot. 27%.
Okay. I'm gonna do a quarter, 25%. Um, uh, so it's not like Ohio State is undefeated or unstoppable, but they are hot, and they have a lot of talent, but they can be beat. Did anybody think they were gonna lose to Michigan? No. Um, uh, what I think is going to be a little tricky for Notre Dame, and I'm curious to see the losses that the Buckeyes have and where they've struggled, and the Texas game is an example, is they struggle when a team plays zone. And Notre Dame is a man team. And even Jeremiah Smith came out and said, if Oregon plays this man, it's done for them. And it was. And look how Jeremiah Smith did against Texas, 3 yards. Texas plays zone. So I'm really curious to see what Marcus Freeman does, if he does anything different. I mean, you're definitely going to play more man because that's how you played all year. You can't just go straight to zone.
Right.
Those defensive players aren't used to playing zone that often. So I'm really curious to see, will they hold up playing man? Will it work? Because it hasn't worked for teams that have played Ohio State man. Notre Dame has a shot, but they have to play the perfect game. They have to run the ball down Ohio State's throat, waste a bunch of clock where Ohio State just doesn't have the ball much. And when they do, you're causing 3 and outs or having lucky turnovers that just bounce your way. Riley Leonard has to be flawless. Like everything has to go their way. So I'm rooting for Notre Dame because I like Marcus Freeman more than I like Ryan Day. I like Notre Dame more than Ohio State. I always have. But at the end of the day, they have to play perfect, and I'm really interested to see how they play defense. I'm interested to see maybe they switch it up. They play man first and second, third down they go zone. I don't know. Al Golden is the defensive coordinator, so Marcus Freeman's a defensive player. So I wonder how they're going to play this, but I'm a little worried for Notre Dame in terms of just because they play man. I have a feeling they might get burned on a couple of shots like like Oregon did.
It's too late to try to switch from the zone.
Yeah, you can't.
They're gonna go. They're gonna naturally revert back to drifting to man, even in the middle of the zone. They're gonna get lost, and you're gonna go back to man. So, I don't think they have the personnel to match up with Ohio State and man. So you're right. That's the game plan. They got to try to keep the ball out of their hand.
Yeah. So they have to run the ball because they're a run team. Riley Leonard isn't the best thrower. You can't have 35 throws by Riley Leonard. You got to run it.
Give me 5%.
Damn.
Notre Dame have no chance of winning this game, man.
The national championship game, man.
Kia, not to cut you off, but they played last year, and Ohio State won on the last play of the game. Remember that? Marvin Harrison gets them into the red zone, times running down. They get to the 1 and they run it in. So Marcus Freeman has experience playing against them.
But this is a better Ohio State team, though. They just upgraded on both sides of the ball. Just the way Ohio State's been playing, this team is favored by 8. I'm surprised it's not more than that right now. It's a scary team right now, man. This is the Ohio State team I imagine when the season started, and they are not scared to throw the ball. Will Howard is looking like the quarterback I thought he was going to be when the season started, and it took, a loss to Michigan to Will Howard to look like this type of quarterback, man. If Will Howard was playing like this the entire season, he probably he probably would have won the Heisman, man. He probably would have been a Heisman favorite if Will Howard was playing like this. And the running game is clicking, the defense is showing out. I just don't know if Notre Dame can put up those type of points. I just don't know if they could contain those wide receivers because you're not only containing, you could contain Jeremiah Smith, but people forgot about Egbuka though. Egbuka was going into the season. I thought he was their best wide receiver. And then you got the two-headed monster with Travion Henderson and Judkins. I think it's gonna be a bad matchup, man. And lately, watching these national title games, as long as I've been watching it, the last time majority of these national title games has been decided by at least 15 or more points. The last time a national title game that wasn't decided by 15 or more points, it was in 2018, and I think it was Alabama. I think it was Alabama. Alabama. It was decided by 3 points in that game. So
I think this one's close though.
No, man. I don't know, man. I do that.
The reason why it's kind of like what you've been saying. You were saying, these last couple of games, these last couple of national championship games, been blowouts. Because it was a 14 playoff. You didn't get to weed out who really didn't need to be there. You know what I mean? It was like all you got to do is win one game and you're in the national championship game. Anybody can win one game in football. Now you got to make it through the gauntlet to get to the national championship game. You've proven yourself. If you're in a national championship game, I really do feel like you're one of the two best teams in college football. So I think that weeds out all of the blowouts. That's you get the TCUs out of here. You know what I mean? You get the SMUs out of there, the Boise States, because Boise State could have made a run. They could have won one game and gotten to the national championship if they were one of the four. Arizona State could have won one game and gotten to the national championship and gotten blown out in the national championship game. You know what I mean? So I think that that's one good thing about this 12-team system.
Okay. Well, let's go to our predictions, man. The national title game. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. Who you got?
Okay, I'll go first. So like I said, I'm really interested to see how much of Texas's game plan Notre Dame takes on defense and how much zone they try to put in there. You can't go all game. It's too late. But maybe every third down, maybe every first down. I don't know. All in all, I think Marcus Freeman limits them somehow under 30. Will Notre Dame keep up is the question, because I think Ohio State's defense is a little underrated just because they're so explosive on offense. I don't think people pay attention to their defense as much. Ohio State hasn't won in a decade, 2014 with Zeke, Cardale Jones, Joey Bosa, and those guys. Notre Dame hasn't won since '88. I wasn't even alive. Keo, I don't know if you were born in '98 or anywhere around there, but they have not won since '88. So, man, I really want Notre Dame to win this game. Like I said, I've always liked Notre Dame over Ohio State, but I got to be honest. At the end of the day, Ohio State's got better talent. They had a rougher road. I think they have the better throwing quarterback. And at the end of the day, I don't like how Notre Dame plays man, and you do better against the zone. All in all, I think we get a closer game, a more defensive game. I'm going to go Ohio State wins the national title, like I predicted in the preseason. No reason for me to change now. 2016. Low scoring, Notre Dame struggles to score. Ohio State will have moments they struggle, but at the end of the day, the talent prevails. 20-16. Notre Dame covers. They're 8-point underdogs, but Ohio State's a better team. They win. And by the way, this game's in the Falcon Stadium, if you did not know.
All right, the fake dome, huh? All right. Cool.
Basically the same distance for both schools, basically. So
yeah. All right. So first off, I want to send a shout out to Mr. Jamie Spencer, best player to come out of my high school, Washita Parish High School. He was the number one running back in 1994. And he went to Notre Dame. Played fullback there. Got a couple knee injuries. He had a good career there, but I'll never forget. I was 2 years younger than him, so they were coming to recruit him, and Lou Holtz walked into our weight room while we were lifting weights. You should have seen all of us throwing weights on the bars. So maybe he could think we were strong or something. I don't know what the hell we were thinking, but he was there strictly for Big Jamie. But I know Big Jamie's gonna be going for Notre Dame, but sorry, dog, it ain't gonna happen. Ohio State wins this one, man. I do think that they cover. I got 26-20. I think they're able to put up a couple more points than you think they are. But it's not going to be enough. They're not going to be able to put up more points than Ohio State.
All right, man. I'm going with Ohio State, obviously. I'm going to say 34-17 in this game.
Wow.
Ohio State jumps up early in this game. I think the game will be so out of hand. I'm turning over to watch Monday Night Raw on Netflix, man. Woo! Don't worry, we'll be doing a recap right afterwards. But yeah, man, I just think Ohio State is a better team. I think they're a better team, and I think this is going to be good for Ryan Day, man, and everybody finally could get off his back, and he's going to say, "Look, I want me a national title. What you got to say now?" So yeah, I think it will be good for.
So you better be Michigan, or you out of here.
but down in Louisiana, I know LSU Nation is praying and rooting that freaking Notre Dame do not win this, because if he does,
I think Brian Kelly is rooting for the Buckeyes.
because the Notre Dame does, that Marcus Freeman and Brian Kelly comparison, it's gonna come back, and they're gonna start making comparisons of who actually is a better coach. And see, I know you may not like that, but it's gonna happen if Notre Dame does win. But I just don't think it will happen, though.
Well, see, we did
all of LSU Nation when I say we don't give a damn. We got our coach. We good with our coach. Good luck, Notre Dame. We don't care.
All right. Well, with that being said, man, let's wrap things up, man, and let's go to our shout-outs.
Okay, well, I'll go first. Our boy X completely ducked us tonight.
Yeah, that's wow, X. Wow.
Yeah, he doesn't even give us a heads up. That's the worst part. When I'm out, I tell y'all the week before on this show. But I'll be back next week. NFL playoffs. We got national title game. We'll be here next Tuesday recapping the national title game. Honestly, I'm rooting for Notre Dame, but more than anything, I'm rooting for a good game. That's at the end of the day, when my team's not around, I'm rooting for a good game. No matter if it's LSU, USC, whoever it is, I want a good game more than anything. So go Fighting Irish, but let's hope for it. Let's hope for a good game. And just enjoy these playoffs. I'll see you on next Tuesday.
Hey, Vaughn, before you go, man, what time Texas play this weekend?
Wow.
They play same time as LSU.
Exactly.
You wait a long time to ask that though.
Hey man, hey, Harbaugh waited 9 years to get a championship, bro. It don't matter how long it takes, as long as we get there.
Well, next Tuesday we're going to talk about next season, so I can't wait for you to tell us how LSU's going to win the SEC.
I'm gonna be telling y'all about how we won the portal.
Of course you are.
Exactly. So get prepared. Get your counter argument together because I'm gonna destroy you as usual.
Well, we won the recruiting, so I mean, what's big?
Anyways, man, go to
What's
your damn
bigger?
shout outs.
What's bigger? We got better proven players. Those guys are high school studs. All right. So anyway, last minute shout outs. I was going to my family, Hunter Morgan, Tori, Krishna, Lee, and Edward. Daddy, love y'all. I'll see you in just a second. And to my beautiful wife, Latricia, I love you too. I'll see you in just a second. And look, getting off early tonight. All right, and Pep House babies, Marcel Carter, Brian, and Azaria. Grace, Brian, Pep, love y'all. I'll see you in just a second, even if it's just on my screensaver, as you can see, because I know it's too late. I know y'all sleep. And to the whole NBS crew, appreciate y'all boys for having me on here. I'll be on here next week again, just in time to smack y'all around. Let's try to do it earlier. Let's try to do it earlier, man. It's all good, man. Everybody out there watching, love y'all too. See y'all next week. Peace.
Yeah, shout out to the 81 people that's tuned in right now from Twitter and YouTube. Yeah, definitely shout out to you guys. Shout out to X wherever he's at. I know he was coaching a basketball game, so yeah, that shout out to him. Shout out to Yvonne. Shout out to C. Shout out to everybody that tuned into our last couple episodes and uploads that they were able to check out. You know, we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts also. So to you Apple Podcasts and Spotify fans, this is episode 75, man. We got a huge weekend in sports, man, starting off with a wild card weekend. And then they got UFC 311, man. Make sure you guys go check that out also. But with that being said, man.
Hey, Keel, yes. Good thing you said that. Big UFC event, 2 fights for the title this weekend. So after the Lions Commanders, tune in. I'm giving y'all something good to watch. Go ahead, Keel. Sorry.
All right,
Jerry,
man.
holler at me. I'll listen.
And with that being said, man, this is the Nbs Show, episode 75. Until then, we'll see you guys next time. We out.
Peace.